how's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode here on the G's Footage Garage. So today I wanted to do a video and kind of just recap with you guys all the craziness and how all over the place I've been trying to get this show on the road with the 1970 Chevelle, and kind of also some of the projection that I have for the car, like what's the plans and how are we going to address some of the issues and things like that. So basically, so far what we've done is we went and we picked up the motor, as you guys can see back here. Here it is. So we went and picked it up. I don't have an engine stand to support a 396 big block. I just have a 3-leg one, which is not recommended to hold the big block. So we just kind of went and bought some motor mounts from AutoZone. They were like 11 bucks, and we just kind of threw it in there. The reason we bought motor mounts was because the car didn't come with motor mounts. Yeah, so I went and I bought some cheapy ones. I mean, they were just OEM replacement style ones, and just slapped the motor in there for now. The motor is gonna come back out, but I mean, I'm gonna have to order like an engine stand and things like that. And remember, guys, I'm not made out of money here. I'm a poor man's production, and we work very slowly when it comes to buying expensive parts like that or tools. So yeah, so I have an engine stand on the way to put the big block in. So we'll pull it back out, we'll go through it and things like that. We did wash it, give it a quick wash, knock off all the dirt off of it and things like that, to kind of minimize how dirty it was, and you know, especially we're gonna put hands on it and things like that, try to make it as clean as possible. Moreover, we actually did pull the insulation off the roof. The roof had like some soggy, all moldy insulation on top. We took that stuff off. We plan to replace it with maybe some Frost King, things like that. So as you can see here, I hit this with the wire wheel. All the loose stuff came off. There is some goo left, but I'm not gonna worry about the goo, because if it's on there that good, then it's not gonna come off. And remember, we're gonna paint this with paint that stops rust, and it's also gonna have a padding on top of it, and it's gonna have the headliner, so we shouldn't worry about any rust growing. Versus something like this, where you can see how it's still kind of like moist. See right there, look. So this is all the stuff that we're taking out with the wire wheel, and like I said, any surface rust, we're gonna grind it down with the wire wheel. I still got a little bit more passes to do over here with the wire wheel, and I'll do it a couple of times, get as much of that surface rust off as I could, and then I'm gonna wipe it down really well, and then I'm gonna go ahead and paint it with like a rust encapsulator or like a stop rust paint, something like that. I'm not gonna go crazy and overthink it. If that's the case, you know, this car will never leave the garage, right? So just do the best we can. But so we pulled that stuff off. I started pulling off some of like the moldings and things like that, like the trim inside that holds like the headliner, and I did that because I'm gonna sand it all down and get rid of some of the rust, put some like stop rust on there, paint the roof, kind of get it ready for upholstery. I also took the shifter off and went through it, took it apart, cleaned it all up. I'm gonna also paint that, but I haven't got to it yet. And I started kind of grinding away at the rust. Now, I did uncover one area of rust that it was just really bad, guys. It's really all the way down. It's just one area on the car where it just got beat. You know, it lost the battle with rust, and it went all the way down. I can't save it in regards to like it's not pitted, it's actually all the way down. So getting information, guys, on how to do the proper repair is like pulling teeth. Like nobody really wants to tell you how to do it, and like I said, it's just like pulling teeth trying to get advice on how to do something. So I went through YouTube, I saw a bunch of videos. Lucky for me, I'm actually my neighbor Richard. He's also known as Zeke. He's a old time painter. He's an old timer, and he actually worked with Bill Hines, the lead singer, and he's a really good body man. Owned his auto repair shop for many years. I have him as my neighbor. He kind of comes, pops in and out in between his projects. He has multiple hot rods he's working on, and I asked him, hey, I have this issue, what do? I want to remove the pillar, do this, do that. And we talked about it, and you know what, I think we're going to do a simple patch. We're going to cut out the rusty area, patch it, and you know, patch it and recoat it again. Maybe put a little bit of fiberglass on the bottom or whatever. But just kind of, but we are gonna like acid. We're gonna clean it with acid, stop the rust, and you know, repair the hole, and yeah, just kind of just make it quick, you know, instead of like cutting out the floorboards and getting all crazy with it, because the car will never leave. And the reason we have a little bit of sense of urgency in trying to get this car kind of as, how should I say, rust clean as possible from the inside is because this car, part of the deal when I bought it was that the car came with the whole interior, bucket seats, bench seat, everything was already paid for. So all that stuff is actually at the upholstery shop. Now that deal happened between the previous owner and the upholstery guy. So they talked already and said, yeah, you know, I'll go ahead and, you know, fulfill that interior that I promised you and that I got as part of the deal when I bought this car. So they actually want this car to go to the upholstery shop so they can give me all the interior. So that's kind of why we're kind of rushing everything in regards to like not cutting out the floorboards and things like that, because I'm really trying to get like the whole interior before it gets lost. So I'm gonna like, you know, kind of haul ass through cleaning up the rust, painting and things like that, just so we can send it off to get the upholstery. And once it comes back, we'll start playing with the engine all over again and things like that. Hey, what's up guys? Fast forward a couple of days later, I actually finished wire wheeling all the surface rust off the interior of the car, and it's basically ready for some repairs, like the patchwork on the bottom of the floorwork and little pits at the top by the speakers. But I don't want to do any of that repair work, like the welding, the patch, and any of that stuff inside of the garage. And right now I can't really push the car out because there's no transmission, so really like the engine's just kind of floating there. I have like some brakes in the back holding it up. I'm gonna move on to some other stuff. The window here, you guys can see here, this is the rear window, and it didn't go up and down because one of the rollers was broken. You guys can see here, the roller's supposed to look like that. Mine's broken. So in order to take these off, you need something called a spanner tool, which is this. It's a little tool. It was 20 bucks. And I bought the replacement window roller. So let's see how this goes. Figured I included in this video because it's a little bit of the interior that needs to get done before this car gets sent off to upholstery. So, and then I have some little pieces here that I'm painting, and these were part of the shifter. So I kind of broke down the shifter and kind of give it a nice little paint job, removed all the rust. So that's where we're at, guys. It's probably gonna be a long video, but with G's skills, it'll probably be like 30 minutes. So we'll see here. All right, so the spanner tool idea actually failed on me because I don't have nothing to grab the other end and prevent it from basically spinning, because this thing's really rusted. You guys can see here, literally broke. So my spanner tool that I bought for this job is going to be pretty much worthless. So I'm just gonna have to grind off that end with the grinder and to get it off. So I'm gonna basically put a cover here, like a welder's blanket, just to make sure I don't break the glass. So basically, that's how you change the little window rollers that guide your window to go up and down. This car had that issue. It will no longer have that issue. Basically pull the window out and replace the little rollers. They're like, I believe like 20 bucks, so they're pretty expensive. Right now I'm just gonna paint this little bracket here on the window. It has some surface rust, but I'm just gonna use this Summit Racing rust converter. And basically stops corrosion, eliminates rust and prevents future rusting, seals and converts rusted area into a paintable area. Yeah, just me knowing that there's a little bit of surface there kind of bothers me, so might as well. Cool. And basically you let it sit for 24 hours and you just throw on your top coat and it should be good. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the window is now fixed. Not gonna lie, it was a pain in the butt to get this window in here. I did rattle can the original locations before I loosened up the mechanism here, just to kind of put it back in the location where it originally was. However, this window, when I got the car, was not functional. It was literally like held on by tissue paper, so it wouldn't roll up or down. So the alignment was kind of the factory alignment that was on there was actually no good to begin with, but I used it as a little bit of a guide because I did have to loosen up all the bolts to be able to get the window in. It was a pain in the butt, guys, big time, but it is doable. And it actually came out pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Look at, here it is right here. But came out pretty good. I'm just being a little careful with it because there is no weather stripping. Just gotta be careful not to scratch it. But it rolls up and down pretty good. I got some grease on the railings wherever the wheels touch. So with a little bit of love and a little bit of use, it should start rolling up a little bit easier with time. And of course with the weather stripping kind of holding it directly in place where it needs to be. But I think that works pretty good. I'll play with it a little bit more, just kind of get the alignment a little bit more smoother. And I'll make sure I'll secure all these bolts. Yeah, but that was my little bit of work that I did for today. Because you know what to say, guys. You move a mountain one pebble at a time, and this was my pebble for today. So we'll see what we get into tomorrow, because there's a lot of work to do on this episode on G's footage. Actually, I have a little bit more free time today. Got a little bit of a puff of energy, so I'm gonna start putting some of this rust mort, and it basically converts rust into it cures the rust and it makes it a paintable surface, right? So you can put your top coating on. I was actually going to use POR 15, which is this stuff here, but I decided to go with the rust mort instead because well, I'm still going to use it on some spots, but the reason I decided to use rust mort versus the POR 15 on basically most of the car is because this stuff, you basically apply it, or you want to kind of wire wheel most of it like we did, and then you want to apply this stuff and then let it cure. It turns the rust into like a, I believe it's like a black or grayish color, and then you could put your top coat on it, and at that point it kills the rust. But the reason I wanted this one versus the POR 15 is because POR 15, you have to degrease it, water it down, you have to etch the metal, water it down, and I don't know about, you know, keep throwing water in the car, you know. I don't know, I don't feel comfortable like I'll be able to get it all out. I don't know, it just seems like too much work when I could just put the rust mort, which has great reviews and it's pretty expensive stuff, and just kind of let it do its job, and then paint it. Use like I'm gonna use like some Rust-Oleum enamel paint, which is like super good. That stuff stops rust within itself. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of brush on this stuff on like by the speaker area, just everywhere basically, and then just let it cure. And then I will use the POR 15 for like some holes that I want to cover, and some like fiberglass mesh. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, I will be using some of this Summit rust converter on areas that I can't really reach, like basically like in here, like all in there. So yeah, but let me get my mask and then go to town. Alright guys, well, I wore my PPE. I got in there. I applied some of that rust smart on basically anywhere that I saw surface rust or I removed rust from, and it actually was pretty good. I was expecting it to be more like drippy and smelly and stuff like that. Well, I didn't really smell anything because I had all my PPE, personal protective equipment. So yeah, so I didn't really smell anything, but this stuff's dangerous. If anybody's gonna use any type of product like this, always wear safety glasses, all that good stuff, because you don't want to lose an eye or something messing with this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna let this thing cure, and then I'm gonna come back, and then I'm gonna fiberglass those holes on the speaker area in the back by the window. There's a couple little holes there. I'm gonna do PR15 and a fiberglass mesh, and then I'm gonna do the patch on the floorboard, and that should be pretty much ready for paint and insulation and noise control. Right. All right, guys. So just finished painting the interior. I had a couple cans of flat black and a couple cans of Regal Red, which Regal Red for like an over-the-counter aerosol can, it kind of resembles the color pretty good. So I just went with that, and it's in the interior. You won't see it. It's going to be covered up by upholstery, but I just did it for to preserve the car, right, to prevent rust, to kind of give this car a good layer of protection. And yeah, so we did that. So this is what it looks like now. So I left this one here. I couldn't take it off. It was stuck on there really good, and there was no rust under there at all because that thing's stuck on there pretty good. So I just left it. I'm gonna cover it with some more insulation anyway, so you won't even see it. But painted the whole interior with Regal Red, Rust-Oleum Stop Rust. Here's the patch that I did out of steel. It came out pretty good, hides well, and yeah, so that's what it looks like. That's what the roof looks like. The roof, I painted it black. I didn't have much, like I said, I only had a couple of cans, so I kind of pulled it off. It's a little shy, but I made sure to focus on areas where I sanded, I grinded, I removed heavy rust. Those areas, I made sure I put the paint real thick on there, real nice. Everything else kind of just like a light coat, just because this car didn't have a lot of rust everywhere anyways, but it just kind of gave it a more uniform look. And I think once I put the installation in here, it's gonna tie everything up together. But yeah, I mean, came out pretty good. Here, I'll give you guys another look. So I'm not worried about, I don't know if you guys see like the overspray from when I painted it black to the red. I'm not worried about that because I'm gonna put this stuff, I'll show you guys over here. I'm gonna use this stuff on the roof. So this stuff is gonna protect us from, like, the heat is gonna keep the, you know, we're out in a hot summer day, it's gonna keep us cool in there. Just some insulation. I saw a couple guys use that on YouTube, and it's like the budget friendly version. Then I'm gonna use this stuff called Kill Mat, and I bought this off Amazon. It wasn't too expensive, and I'm gonna use this on the floor. It's kind of tarry, but it should I think it's gonna look really nice once everything's tightened together. And guys, by no means am I a professional. By no means this is like the best prep work. I had a bunch of blankets over it, you know, on top. I took them off already, put them away, but to kind of minimize the overspray. But I'm not too worried about the overspray anyways, because when this car is all said and done, I'm gonna color sand it and try to see how much of the paint I could salvage. But yeah, so I'm not really too worried about too much overspray, because I know I'm gonna do some major paint correction and leave this thing on point down the road. But hey, it is what it is, guys. I feel good. I feel confident. Or how did my buddy tell me the other day? He goes, because I was asking him all kind of questions. He goes, do whatever makes you sleep well at night. Well, you know what? With my resources and my ability and the amount of money that I have, this is the best solution for me, and I feel good. I feel like I have removed the rust by grinding it all down with the wire wheel. I patched the floor on the bottom with a metal patch. It's not a butt weld patch and things like that, because it wasn't that deep. Like, it wasn't like the whole floorboard was missing. So I just figured I just did a patch, welded it all around, and treated the whole car with rust smart to basically convert any active rust that was still on the car into a paintable surface, and then I coated the car with some Rust-Oleum stop rust paint. And yeah, oh, I also covered up some little holes that it had, like some little pits on the speaker area, with some POR 15 and some mesh. So you're not even gonna see that stuff anyways. That's gonna be covered by like a cardboard and, you know, the upholstery. But I just kind of wanted to kind of make it a little bit stronger, you know, that's where the speaker goes, so there's gonna be vibration and things like that. But yeah, guys, we're moving along. This project is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated it to. So yeah, I mean, it's we're doing the best we can. It's about midnight right now, so it's time to hit the sack. But another day, another little step towards success, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow, where we hopefully put the installation on. That's the goal. Okay guys, so I just finished doing the top with that Frost King stuff, and I only have this little piece left. So I was very fruitful with it, and I was able to pull it off with just one roll. But I had to like cut one of the strips in half to pull it off. Not the prettiest, you know, work, but who's gonna see it, right? I mean, the headliner's gonna cover it, but it should protect us from the heat. And I gotta say, by yourself, it's kind of a pain in the butt, because that stuff is sticky. And in one of the spots, like, I tried to kind of relocate it, because I kind of stuck it a little bit sideways, and that thing wasn't coming off. That thing works. The thing is pretty sticky. I'm not concerned one bit that thing's gonna fall off. I think it's gonna do pretty good. But check it out, guys. So I'm gonna keep going here, and hopefully I finish with this installation stuff today. But yeah, I'm pretty cool with that Frost King stuff and the kill mat. I think that's pretty cool. So any advice, tips, let me know down below, but it might be a little late. Alright guys, and a little bit of extra footage here. I actually ended up scrubbing all the interior pieces, get them nice and clean, try to salvage some of these parts for the upholstery. Shop guy, try to make it better for him to install these parts, because they were super filthy, so like that it didn't dirty none of our new stuff like the carpet and things like that. And gives us a better idea of what's salvageable and what's not, and what I will need to replace. So it looks like I may have to replace all these little like moldings that go around the window and the inside. They're kind of like really trashed. But yeah, so I ended up doing that, and I actually ended up installing the mirrors on both sides. This car actually only came with one, but I ended up putting the passenger side also, just to make it easier a little bit to drive, and I think it looks cooler with two. It kind of threw me off just seeing one, and I think they look pretty cool. Looks a little more complete. And I also ended up putting a little bit more insulation in here, just to kind of make it more uniform, more complete. I didn't go crazy and cover every inch of the car, but I did add a little bit more. So with that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video and it brought you tons of entertainment, and we'll touch base on the next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.